Before I begin, let me ask you a question. Raise your hand if you know personally someone who has experienced some form of mental illness. And raise your hand again if you believe that they deserve to live rich and fulfilling lives. Say, aye. Thank you. I'm definitely in the right room then. So, I want to try and share very briefly some of my experiences. If you were with me on the 25th of July 2008, you'd have seen me sat on the bed in my room. I'd been crying and I looked scraggy. I hadn't eaten properly for over a month. And sat next to me on my bed was my laptop. The screen showed a suicide website detailing things to consider before making an attempt. Be sure that there is no alternative. Consider how friends and family will feel. Put all of your bank statements into a folder to make it easier for someone to handle your finances. Select a method and prepare the means. I decided to take an overdose. The last thing was to tell somebody what you intended to do. So I did. I called my best friend and told her my plans. She told me it would take me a week to die. In the previous 2 months, I made 2 visits to my GP, seeing a different one each time. I told them that I felt suicidal and asked them for talking therapy. The first time I was told, well, you don't have a life-threatening condition. There's no talking therapy available. The second GP told me, well, in my experience, if a person is serious about taking their own life, well, they'd have done it by now. So, here I am in my room, ready to die. Now, I'm not sure what my friend said or did, but later that day, a crisis team came out and I had a mental health assessment. It was her actions that day that saved my life. In 2009, I again experienced a major depressive episode with suicidal behaviour. In 2010, I had a manic episode and was sectioned. A diagnosis of bipolar disorder soon followed. In July of 2015, I experienced yet another period of suicidal behaviour, and in late 2015, I was diagnosed with complex post-traumatic stress disorder, a direct result of a diverse childhood experience. I'd been subjected to psychological abuse by my parents. And as recently as December 2016, over the Christmas period, I experienced high levels of anxiety and hypervigilance, which led to an episode of depression and chronic fatigue. This is just a brief snapshot of my journey. The past 8 years have included regular appointments with a psychiatrist, my CPN, courses of talking therapy, lifestyle changes and regular medication including lithium. I am still a regular user of mental health services. Most important of all has been the presence of an incredible friend, Kathy. She has supported me and ensured that I got the correct support and care. So, where am I in 2017? I've worked for the past 3 years as a living experience consultant, using my experiences of mental illness and mental health services to develop various work streams. Now, I use the term living as life with bipolar disorder and complex PTSD bring daily challenges. There are days, weeks, months, where despite all of our best efforts, the impact of mental illness makes life incredibly difficult and at times almost impossible. In any event, it takes a huge amount of energy just to live a normal life. I just want to share very quickly some of the key work that I've done. And for context, in 2010, I was working in a pub doing 18 hours a week. In early 2014, I was appointed as a consultant to the Fringe of Voices project based in Birmingham. It was funded by Time to Change, and it was working in partnership with West Midlands Police and Birmingham and Solihull Mental Health Foundation Trust. The aim was to improve outcomes for young African Caribbean men who come into contact with statutory services. This was my first key role, and very important to understand was that I went for a full interview and selection process. I'm the Regional Service User Representative for the Royal College of Psychiatry, and I'm a member of their West Midlands Executive Committee. I sit on Mind's Peer Support Advisory Panel. My media work includes speaking events and filming for Reef Mental Illness, the Big Lottery Fund, Mind and Time to Change. I've spoken at multiple conferences, including the Together Against Stigma Conference 2015 in San Francisco. And in 2015, I was awarded the Janie Antonio Award from Rethinking Mental Illness. My last appointment was in 2015 to the West Midlands Mental Health Commission. My appointment to the Commission was based not only on my experience of mental illness, but an ability to draw on a highly effective skill set, providing value to the process. And I want to be clear, it's never my aim to talk on behalf of all people with experiences of mental illness. However, I do feel there is a very important role for people with those experiences to be fully involved at all levels. As a commission member, I was totally embraced. I didn't feel like I was a token member. I contributed freely and was listened to. And I hope that in a good way, if you observe me working, that you actually couldn't tell that I was the one with mental illness. Contributions were widespread and included participating in panel meetings, leading on a key line of inquiry, representing the Commission at meetings and events, contributing to the design and content of the report, leading meeting sessions, being a critical friend to the process. In fact, there wasn't a lot the other panel members did, the experts, that I haven't done. And moving forward, I'll be project managing a key piece of work supporting people with mental health needs as they leave prison. Now, please understand that I list these achievements not to blow my own trumpet, but to highlight the fact that people with serious mental illnesses can work at a very high level. My journey from diagnosis with a serious mental illness, where I was very isolated and had a poor level of mental well-being, to where I am today, enjoying relative stability of my mental health, a fantastic work life, a growing social circle, and great mental well-being, has only been achieved by focusing on the following 10 areas that I will share with you. And I'd argue that they're all as important as each other, and they're presented in no particular order. And in the spirit of the occasion, and openness about our mental health, I just want to share that I'm still currently experiencing that period of depression, manifesting as chronic fatigue. So, as with any long-term mental health condition, bipolar disorder requires medications to manage fluctuations in mood. The search for medication that works can be a difficult and frustrating experience. Perseverance and patience are definitely the order of the day. But I remember exactly how it felt when I started taking a combination of medications that were able to stabilise my mood without leaving me feel like a zombie. For the first time since my diagnosis, I felt like the real me. I was able to think clearer, had more energy, and could start to think about rebuilding my life. It is certainly not an exact science, and the performance of my medication is monitored to ensure effectiveness. Taking lithium requires regular blood tests to ensure that my kidneys are functioning well. And taking tablets morning and night can be really annoying, but at the moment, they're working well and really support my mental well-being. Getting the right professional support is absolutely crucial to achieving mental well-being. The bedrock of my medical support has been my psychiatrist and my community practice nurse. And I've had the benefit of regular contact with them for the past 6 years. And this has allowed me to form a trusting and effective relationship with them. There have been numerous times over the past 6 years when mental health crises have been avoided as a result of their swift action. And I'm forever thankful for their care. But professional medical care goes further than that, and I've benefited from a range of support, including psychological treatment for the management of bipolar disorder and complex PTSD. I did a course called Mood on Track. It was a 10-week course in how to manage and live with bipolar. I have an amazing nurse who takes my blood sample every 3 months and smiles at me, and an understanding GP. From effective diagnosis and prescribing of the correct medication, to understanding why my brain functions the way that it does, to everyday support with my long-term illness, the role professionals play in my life is hugely important, and it's greatly appreciated. Very early on after my diagnosis, it became clear that I would have to make some serious changes to my lifestyle. Late nights and high levels of alcohol were gone, replaced by quiet nights in, DVDs and hot bubble baths. Seriously. Heavy doses of medication and the weight that I gained were also significant driving factors and that led to a healthier lifestyle. And Rachel spoke at length about that earlier. I found that walking and a focus on activities like yoga and Pilates really helped, though these can be difficult to do when you're in a depression. Changes to diet are also important. Nutrient-rich foods, vegetables, lean protein and water on the menu, though again, when and well, difficult to stick to. But a healthy body supports a healthy mind. It only takes one person to save you, and I'm forever thankful that my best friend, Kathy, was there to save me. However, Kathy not only stopped me making an attempt on my life, Kathy gave me a place to stay when I was deeply unwell. And she supported me through the good, the bad, and the ugly. And if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be standing here today. Kathy also helped me to rebuild my life and to regain my confidence. In short, she's done what every good friend does. Stand by you, laugh at your bad jokes, and tell you when you're wrong. And then there comes the mentor. It is said that when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. His name is Sean, and he's the implementation director for the Mental Health Commission. And one day we had a meeting, and he drew me an elephant. I looked at him confused. Then he attempted to draw a mouth eating the elephant, and I was even more confused. Then he said, "You can't eat an elephant all in one go. You have to take small bites." And his point was that consistent small efforts will achieve huge results, but more importantly, help protect my health. Having a good friend and a mentor guiding me and giving me the confidence to live a life that is full of meaning and contribution has been hugely important. And we've heard about the importance of being able to feel that you're capable in giving confidence. Life with a serious mental illness can be hard. Trying to explain to a person who hasn't experienced mania what it's like to experience mania is pretty much impossible. Getting around people who get it and with whom you don't have to explain away your illness is liberating. The mutual support of peers is invaluable. And again, we've heard about that today. Being able to contribute to the lives of others and not just being someone who receives care is hugely empowering. Acceptance. Easy to say, very difficult to achieve. However, it is vital for achieving long-term mental well-being. How do you accept that you have a lifelong health condition characterized by deep depressions and dangerous manic episodes? How do you accept that this will require taking strong medication for the rest of your life? How do you accept that your health condition carries an elevated risk of suicidal behaviour? How do you accept these things that you cannot change? You just have to. You have to stand any chance of achieving mental well-being. For a long time, I fought aspects of my illness, and it is tiring beyond belief. But over time, I learned to focus on what I could change. Many of the things I'm sharing with you today. Focusing on what you can change puts you firmly in control of what can often feel like a bit of a roller coaster ride. And I'm happy to say that I now feel a little bit wiser. I always did well at school. I went on to graduate from university. I even studied for a master's. I wanted to be a person who could have an impact and create change in the world. However, when I was diagnosed, I knew that it would be difficult for me to manage my condition alongside my full-time job as a supply teacher. I also had little faith in the ability of my employer to take me and my illness seriously and to provide the right support. So, when in 2014 I was given the opportunity to work on a mental health-based project, I leapt at the chance. When in 2015 I was approached to work on the Mental Health Commission with local and national leaders to create a plan to improve the mental health for the region, I jumped at that too. This was all a far cry from the job that I had in the pub. Being able to use my experiences, coupled with the skill set, to deliver and develop projects had given my life direction and a sense of purpose. I no longer have those feelings of inadequacy. And again, we've heard about the importance of having a purpose in your life and having something to contribute to. Being supported to find the job that fits with your values and matches your level of ambition is so important. and being paid a fair wage reinforces that you are a valuable part of society. One of the most important decisions that I've made in my life was the decision to volunteer with Time to Change. My life over the past 3 years all stems from the decision to become part of something bigger. I felt that I'd achieved a good level of ongoing recovery, and I felt strongly about mental health discrimination. I saw the great work that Time to Change were doing on Facebook, took a look at the website and volunteered for everything that I could. I wanted to be around people who were using their experiences of mental illness to tackle the stigma and discrimination that we've already heard about today. I still remember the first day that I went to an event and I saw everyone wearing the same t-shirt with Time to Change across the front. I felt part of something, and I knew that together our voices were loud and strong. It's okay to be not okay. Sometimes, and despite our best efforts, I experience periods of poor mental health. And these are always difficult to deal with. When they do happen, it's very easy to hide away and avoid seeing people until it passes. But why? If I had a physical health condition, I wouldn't hide away in my room. So I started to use social media to communicate with my friends that I wasn't well. And where possible, I tried to educate them in some way. I used video and photographs to describe what I was feeling. People responded with messages of support and care. And at my most difficult times, these helped greatly. But there is also another side to this idea. Self-compassion. I can be my own worst enemy. When I'm in a depressive episode and energy levels have plummeted, you'll hear me say this phrase: I should, I should, I should. It does me absolutely no favours. However, I'm a bit of a slow learner, and I'm starting to learn to be more compassionate to myself and to understand that sometimes taking rest and taking on less work is a very important part of my self-care. Hope. I want to leave you with hope. Hope is integral to my mental well-being. Hope is what gets me up in the morning. Hope is what motivates me to go to work. Hope is what helps me to live with my mental illness. I was privileged to work with Norman Lamb, a man on a mission, and to create a plan for our region, a plan full of hope. And while there are people like Norman around, I have to be hopeful. Hope that our society is becoming more understanding of mental illness and more compassionate. Hope that we can improve services for people when they do experience poor mental health. And hope that we can prevent people from reaching crisis point in the first place. I hope that I've demonstrated that when a person with a serious mental illness gets the right support, both medically and socially, when they can find a place in this world they fit in, can make meaningful contributions to society, and are embraced in times of good health and in poor health, that they are able to live a life with great mental and physical well-being.
With regards to the work you do with the West Midlands Police currently, how open do you feel that the CRC and the MPS are towards potential projects that you could put on to support people who have offended or are on the verge of re-offending, particularly, to help society move forward? Because I think it's very powerful, having worked with CRC previously myself, and probably their lack of support to be able to stop people from re-offending. Mental health being an issue that is there and being ignored to an extent because of lack of funding potentially. How do you find that from your perspective, trying to get that across?
I think it's a very complicated area. I think you've touched upon a few of the issues there, funding being one of them. My experience has actually been really eye-opening. I wasn't the biggest fan of the police growing up, young black guy living in Birmingham. But what I found is that actually in the West Midlands, they're the driving force. So the guy that I put up there, Sean Russell, is a superintendent in West Midlands Police. They are the driving force in the West Midlands at the moment about mental health change. Because they are the people, and I've kind of been really privileged to kind of enter their world, they're the people that are picking this up. They estimate that 20% of their time is spent dealing with mental illnesses, but it's far higher than that. We know that the number of people that are coming through the criminal justice system with either an identified or an unmet mental health need is huge. So they're carrying the cost, and we've the information from the Mental Health Foundation and many others about the costs, both socially and economically, are overwhelming. So what I found is that in our region at least, there is a real willingness to move things forwards, and we're all on the same page there. If that's the same picture nationally, I don't know, but I know that there are some really genuine intentions around the table. How well we move forwards on that remains to be seen, but again, I'm quite hopeful, and perhaps I'm a bit naive in that, but I think that kind of helps in my work.
Thank you.